Hello, this is Bug News, and today we're going to talk about Mary Cosby of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City and her mother's interview with Up and Adam and her uncle's interview with Sherelle's World, if I'm pronouncing Sherelle World correctly, because I want to say Cheryl's World for some reason. But anyway, what we're going to start off talking about is a church that is in Utah City, or the capital of Utah, Salt Lake, I'm sorry, and how Mary, or Rosalind, Cesare's mother, and Ernest, or Ernie, how the church was built. Now, as we know, a lot of people don't know, or may not care. Mama ended up in Utah from Indianapolis because she said God told her to go to Utah, Salt Lake City. And what you may not know is she and her kids, I think it was 5 of them, 2 were adopted, walked from, well, I think the car broke down, but they walked, let's just say they walked from Indianapolis to Utah. Similar to a story in the Bible, right? At this point, I think some gentleman helped them along the way, and this gentleman was influential into them building a church. Well, took them in, and that's how they got a place to live and stuff like that in Utah, and starting a fellowship and things like that, and which led her to building a church. So this particular church that's on the water, they bought the land, and I think it's the only church on the water in Salt Lake City. And the other citizens of Salt Lake City kind of laughed at them because they were too close to the water, and they said the church is going to fall. Well, to this day, from my understanding, the church has not fell. So that's a story for verification purposes. One part was well documented. Another part is not too much documented. All right. So what we want to know is who's telling the truth, who's lying, where do the intersections cross. So what we do know is Ernest admitted that he got out of line sometime on the Sherelle's interview. Some people allegedly, say Ernest is a black belt and he knows how to, handle himself. So allegedly, he probably could pop a guy's eye out and pop it back in. And that might be why Robert Cosby kind of fears Ernest. He don't let him get too close up on him because Ernest might know how to put that thing on him allegedly. But what both people did not bring up, when I say both people in their interviews, they didn't bring up $15 million that has been sitting in escrow, allegedly. This has been sitting in probate in the bank for what they say 20 years or 27 years now, however it's been, how long it's been. Well, right? And so we know that has interest on it. And allegedly some guy in Mary's crew tried to go get the money out the bank. As soon as they went to the bank, police was outside, told them to go put the money back in the account. So that's what those people did. This is all alleged. I have no receipts. It's just, stories here and there. So we know there's still some money left. Now what Ernest, or Ernie, on the Sherelle interview failed to talk about was how Rosalind lost a lot of the money that she was awarded during a settlement suit that she won. We know she sued him. We know she won. It's documented in news articles in one of our videos that we have here. But what happened allegedly was that Rosalind was putting up all the money for the fight. All the other family members allegedly were not. So a lot of that money I mean, we don't know nothing about the pill habit that he claims she had. We have no information on that. But a lot of that money went to pay for getting the body exhumed, getting the corners. Ernie ain't said he came out no pocket for that. He said it's a group, but allegedly Rosalind paid for all that. She had to pay for all the lawyer fees and things like that. So today is still in probate, so probably going to get out of, well, today they still in, I think, well, probate is the word I'm using, but they're still trying to fight to get the money out, or get the money spread out to the families. But the lawyers probably take all that anyway. And as we know, we think Rosalind, I think it's documented that Rosalind was received $1.5 million settlement, but I think that settlement was for the restaurants and things like that that the family owned. So Rosalind still had some restaurants. I don't know about the husband. He said he had some businesses, but we think all those businesses were tied to the mama world of the state. Now, although Rosalind and her husband or ex-husband talked about Louise Johnson, they painted her in a bad light. And but Ernie painted her in a good light. But Ernie didn't tell Louise Johnson's alleged story of how she came into this biblical collective. Louise was in Annapolis. She was going through some financial hardships. Somehow she ended up in Salt Lake City. She was a loan officer, or during the process became a loan officer. But she also was Mama's personal assistant in a lot of her business affairs. So she knows the ins and outs of how the money worked and how it was passed along and things like that. Just in that aspect. We're not saying Louise Johnson did anything wrong. We're just going off some alleged information that we have from unknown sources. So that's how Louise is tied in. During this process, Louise Johnson has become a very powerful figure in Utah community and also across the country. She's been associated with a lot of other black, highly profile figures who we won't name. You can do your own research to find out who they are. And that's pretty much it about Louise. So we're still left at who's lying, who's telling the truth, and we're trying to find out where these paths cross. We know that Flex used to be a rapper, or is a rapper, and Flex is Mary's brother. And we know that I think they still own some barbershops and stuff like that. So there's still some businesses that are floating around, but I guess people are taking different sides. And so Ernie is saying that Mary knew what was going on, and then Rosalind knew what was going on. They're one and the same. Rosalind allegedly is saying, because we're saying that Ernie saying this because he's made this statement, or I'm paraphrasing the statement from Sherrell's World, and Rosalind is saying that all she wants her daughter to do is get away from Robert Cosby. So she gets away from Robert Cosby. It has to be some type of thing here. So some people are saying, Ernie's saying that Robert Cosby and Mary, whomever, paid Rosalind off, but some people are saying allegedly Louise Johnson is facilitating some instances with Ernie. And as we know, Ernie, I think in the past, Louise was trying to date Ernie, if we recall from a past interview, but he wasn't interested. But now he's saying, and I could be wrong on this, and now he's saying that she's the wonderful person in the world. So who knows what's going on? But this is just a little tidbit from Bug News. We with some little information. Some of this information is all alleged with no proof of receipts, and some of this information does have news articles which is associated with it, and timelines of testimony from past interviews of Rosalind Sares, where she gives up this information about the church, the family's journey, and things of that nature. And like I said, this is Buzz News. Please like, share, and subscribe. Get your comment. Who do you think is telling the truth? Who do you think is lying? And it's just the normal when someone dies in the family and this fight over the money and the resources. Thank you very much.